Hello, I'm Peter Towers, Managing Director of ESS BIZTOOLS. Welcome to Accountant's Minute, issue 379. This week we comment on the fantastic endorsement that we received from Amanda Gascoigne in the special webinar which we presented last week. Amanda was commenting on the ESS BIZTOOLS Trades Charge Out Rate Calculator when she said it was like gold. She went on to say that the Tradie Charge Out Rate Calculator within ESS BIZTOOLS, she loves it. She recommends it to all of her clients, which are accountancy firms all over Australia. So please avail yourself of the opportunity also of reading what Amanda had to say, listening to what she had to say by clicking on to the excerpt from the webinar recording. It goes for about 6.5 minutes that you can listen to Amanda Gascoigne's comments. The comments on the Tradie Charge Out Rate Calculator were very important because we were looking at some of the comments that the CEO of MYOB, Paul Robson, had made in an article in the Financial Review back in February, when he indicated that it was a lack of knowledge of fiscal management that was causing a lot of the problems for small business operators. And I agree. I think there's been a lack of preparation in the first place. I think there's a real opportunity for accountants to be offering a broader range of services to help your SME clients and for people thinking about going into business. It's very important that they either have the ability to do this work themselves, or you clearly indicate to them that if they are going to become clients of yours, that you have got to be offering them real accounting services and that you will perform that role for them and advise them and keep them informed. That's real accounting services, in my opinion. I hope you agree. Also, last week we had the announcement by the Australian Small Business and Family Enterprise Ombudsman Bruce Bilson of the Small Business Pulse. This is a great initiative by Mr. Milson to report on the health of the small business community. And it's not looking too healthy, is it? He indicated that small business conditions have deteriorated 3.5% in the last 12 months, and that the business operating environment for SMEs has been in decline for the last 2 years. He also indicated that there's problems from the tax office because the tax office is in hot pursuit of tax debts owed by SMEs. So your SME clients are copping it from all angles. Bilson also went on to comment that the review had indicated that small business economic activity is currently 33% of GDP, and when you look at that on its own, it probably doesn't look too bad. But with all figures, we have to do comparisons. And the comparison is that in 2006, 8 years ago, small business had a 40% share of the GDP. So that's not looking too good, is it? And small business currently provide jobs for 42% of the private sector workforce. And again, you might think that's all right, until you realise that back in 2006, that figure was 53%. So we then combined that with comments by the now retired Tax Commissioner, Chris Jordan, when in 2022 he issued a significant warning to accountants. You must understand that if your business model is high volume, low margin, simple tax returns, your business will not be viable in 3 to 5 years' time, Mr. Jordan said. Now 2 years have gone, so we're now looking at 1 to 3 years. All of these reports that we're referring to all highlight that SMEs have got significant problems. But I think a lot of that's also going to turn onto accountants and bookkeepers because we're servicing a shrinking market, and it's a market that needs assistance. It's a market that's got huge problems. The failure rates are rising. Insolvencies are rising. If you look at graphs or your key performance indicators, there's indications everywhere you look that the SME market is sick. I don't think the preparation of an annual set of accounts and a tax return and a meeting once or twice a year is good enough to help SME clients survive. If you want to keep on providing that service, well, you're probably not interested in what ESS BIZTOOLS has provided for our subscribers, because we believe it's necessary to implement the 52-week of the year business system to help your clients. Daily, weekly, monthly. Now, you mightn't do the work daily. You would set the system up for someone in the client's firm to maintain a daily report. As Amanda Gascoigne said in our webinar, 20 years ago, daily reports or a weekly summary of what's going on in the business was quite normal in businesses. But everyone's sitting back thinking the computers are going to do everything. They don't do everything. And we are dealing with SME business people who haven't got a room full of computers producing information. They need some input. Just as the CEO of a listed public company needs input from their chief executive officer, and I was one of them once, reporting to the CEO, but our CEO had another 8 or 9 members of the leadership team, experts all in their own activities. And he was there then juggling the various advice, and at times it was contradictory. The sales manager would want to do one thing and I was arguing for something else. What goes on with your SME clients? Most of them have definitely not got a leadership team of 10 to 12 people, and then area managers scattered around Australia, as we had. They're working on their own. Who gives them that advice? This is the role that you can play. Sure, it's going to cost them, but it might be the cost of not going broke that they have to incur. You need to talk to them. You need to be able to show them that you can provide these services. And our commitment at ESS BIZTOOLS, if you become a subscriber of ours, we are committed to providing the packages that you need to be able to provide those services to your clients. Every month I write to our subscribers and say, let us know what you need. What new systems do you need? And we react to those suggestions. So if you're interested in joining us, I would love to hear from you. Go to our website and have a look, www.essbiztools.com.au, or send me an email, peter@essbiztools.com.au, and I'll be happy to have a Zoom meeting with you. About 40 minutes, we have a discussion. You tell me a bit about your firm, I'll give you an overview of how ESS BIZTOOLS could help you. And if you've already got all the resources, I'll just indicate that to you and say you seem to have it all. Now, if you need something else, we can look at providing it to you. Or if you need mentoring and coaching, which some people do, even though they've already developed their own systems, they still need an outsider to give them some input. We're happy to look at doing that. The problem with business, with SMEs, is that many of them do not understand the trading terms. They don't understand that suppliers are not bound to automatically give them 30-day credit terms. They might say it's cash on delivery, and it may be cash on delivery for many months because suppliers are getting burnt. There's too many failures. And if they don't have to give credit to customers, well, I'd be suggesting don't give it, but I know you've got to in some cases. But they need to realise that their debtors days outstanding is not going to be a nice 30 days, if that's what they're telling people that their terms are, because that won't be abided by, will it? Australia's got the highest debtors days outstanding in the world. I think it's a national disaster. It's a disgrace, but that's what it is. And the federal government every so often talks about whether it's the Liberal Prime Minister or the Labor Prime Minister. The current incumbent has said big business is going to pay and government departments are going to pay, yet I still hear stories of people having debtors days outstanding of 80, 90, 102 days. I looked at one recently. So you need to be communicating that to people planning to go into business. Because what Paul Robson was saying in his article in the Financial Review back in February is that people start off with great enthusiasm in a business. Now, whether they self-advised or they got advice from an accountant, In some respects, I hope they didn't get advice from an accountant, because they hit a brick wall after 6 months. What didn't they know? What weren't they told? Robson identified a number of issues. Number one, they didn't understand suppliers' terms of trade. So I assumed by that he meant that a lot of them had been put on cash on delivery, which would have caused havoc on their cash flow right from the start, wouldn't it? If they were thinking they were going to get 30-day terms. Number two, they hadn't realised that debtors don't pay them on a 30-day basis. In fact, his comments were that they had ineffective debtor systems. So someone should have set their debtor system up. I really believe that should have been you as the accountant to give them that input, and to know that they need to be stamping the due date for payment on the tax invoices. They need to be ringing people 5 days prior to the due date on one of those tax invoices to remind them, so that they can get paid. Otherwise they will have debtors days outstanding of 70, 80, 90 days. No wonder they run out of cash. And the third big issue that Mr. Robson identified was that they completely forget about paying the tax office. Well, the tax office were very lenient through the COVID years. I got no doubt they were told to be lenient by the federal government, but they were lenient. They're not lenient anymore, and they're looking for the money. Whether it's tax deducted from the employees' wages, the superannuation, or the GST payments. The clients should be encouraged, I think, to open a separate bank account to put that money into, so that they've got it available whenever the due date for payments to the tax office come up, so they can make those payments. So there's plenty more in this particular Accountant's Minute that you can go through. We're also giving you a reminder that we've launched our Olympic Games celebration, and wasn't the performance of our team at the Olympics game fantastic? And now we've got the next round to commence very shortly, and we'll be running through our special prices until the 31st of August. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you for your interest. Stay safe. Have a great night. Goodbye.